Instructional strategies for students with disabilities. Teaching students with disabilities requires intentional, individualized, and evidence-based instructional strategies. These strategies address a wide range of needs: academic, behavioral, social, and communicative, to ensure that every learner can access the curriculum and thrive. It means that teaching students with disabilities must be done thoughtfully and carefully, using methods that are tailored to each student's unique needs and backed by research. These teaching methods should support not just academic learning, but also help with behavior, social skills, and communication. The goal is to make sure that all students, regardless of their abilities, can understand and participate in the lessons and succeed in school. The first strategy is behavior management strategies. Behavior management helps create a structured, positive classroom environment that supports students with behavioral challenges, including ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, and emotional disturbances. Here are the key strategies. First is positive behavior support, or the PBS. Proactively teaches expected behaviors and reinforces them consistently. Example: a teacher teaches the class how to line up quietly by modeling it, practicing with students, and praising them when they do it correctly. Every time the class lines up quietly, they earn a point toward a class reward like extra recess. Next key strategy is functional behavior assessment, or the FBA. It identifies the reason behind challenging behaviors to guide interventions. Example: a student frequently yells out in class. The teacher conducts an FBA and learns that the behavior usually happens when the student is given difficult tasks. The teacher adjusts the work level and gives the student support during this task, reducing the yelling. Next key strategy is reinforcement systems. Use of rewards such as praise, tokens, privileges to encourage positive behavior. Example: a student earns a token every time they raise their hand instead of shouting out. After collecting 10 tokens, they can choose a preferred activity like drawing or using a tablet for 5 minutes. Next is clear routines and rules. It helps reduce anxiety and behavioral outbursts. For example, at the start of the year, a teacher clearly explains the daily schedule and classroom rules using visuals. The schedule is posted on the wall and followed consistently, helping students with anxiety know what to expect. And lastly, the behavior contract. Agreements between teacher and student to commit to specific behavioral goals. Example: a student who struggles with staying seated during class signs a contract with the teacher. It states that if the student remains seated during lessons for 5 days in a row, they can choose a classroom job as a reward. The student tracks their own progress with a chart. These examples show how behavior management strategies can be applied in real classrooms to support students effectively. The next strategy is the communication strategies. It is for students with speech and language impairments. Communication strategies are crucial to support understanding and expression. Here are sample approaches for the communication strategies. First is the augmentative and alternative communication, or the AAC. It includes tools like picture boards, communication apps, and speech generating devices. For example, A nonverbal student uses a tablet with the Proloco 2 Go app to tap symbols and pictures that form sentences like I want juice or I need help. This allows the student to participate in class discussions and make choices. Next is sign language or gesture, used with students who are nonverbal or have limited speech. For example, a teacher uses Simple American Sign Language or ASL signs like more, finished, and bathroom with a student who has limited speech. The student learns to sign back to express needs without speaking. The next approach is simplified language, using clear, concise, and storyboards that assist in comprehension. For example, instead of saying, please take out your math workbook and turn to page 43, the teacher says, get math book, page 43. The teacher also shows a visual schedule with a picture of the workbook and a number. This helps the student follow instructions more easily. And lastly, the speech therapy collaboration, working with speech language pathologists or SLPs for targeted intervention. For example, a teacher meets weekly with a speech language pathologist to review strategies for helping a student improve sentence structure. The teacher then practices these strategies during classroom activities like journaling or show and tell. These examples show how communication strategies can be personalized and integrated into daily classroom routines to help students with speech and language impairments succeed. The third strategy is assistive technology. Assistive technology, or AT, refers to tools that help students overcome barriers to learning, whether physical, sensory, or cognitive. Examples of assistive tech is screen readers. It helps students with visual impairments or dyslexia access text. For example, a student who is blind uses a screen reader like JAWS or Job Access with Speech that reads out the text on a computer screen, allowing them to complete assignments, read digital books, and browse the internet independently. Speech-to-text software. It converts spoken words into written text for students with motor or writing difficulties. For example, a student with dysgraphia or a student who has difficulty with writing uses Dragon Naturally Speaking to speak answers aloud, and the software types them out on the screen. This helps the student complete essays and written assignments more efficiently. Next is the adaptive keyboard and mice. It is designed for students with limited mobility. For example, a student with cerebral palsy uses a large keyboard and a joystick mouse that is easier to control than standard devices, allowing them to type and navigate a computer without frustration. Next is text-to-speech software. It reads text aloud for students who struggle with reading. For example, a student with dyslexia uses a program like Kurzweil 3000 that reads digital textbooks aloud while highlighting the words on the screen. This improves reading comprehension and keeps them engaged in the material. Lastly, the electronic organizers and timers. It supports executive function and time management. For example, a student with ADHD uses a visual timer and a scheduling app on their tablet to manage transitions between tasks, remember homework deadlines, and stay on track during classroom activities. These tools empower students by giving them equal access to learning and allowing them to participate more fully in educational activities. The fourth strategy is the teaching social skills. Many students with disabilities, especially those with autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, or emotional or behavioral disorders, need explicit instruction in social and interpersonal skills. Strategies of teaching social skills. First is social stories. Short narratives that teach appropriate responses to social situations. For example, a student with autism struggles with changes in routine. The teacher reads a social story titled "When We Have a Fire Drill," which explains what will happen, how it might feel, and what to do. This prepares the student for the situation and reduces anxiety. Next is role-playing and modeling. It helps students practice and see examples of social behavior. For example, in a small group, students take turns pretending to greet each other, ask to join a game, or handle a disagreement. The teacher models the correct behavior first, then students practice with feedback. Next strategy is peer buddy programs, partnering students to promote inclusion and social interaction. For example, a student with ADHD is paired with a classmate who helps them stay on task during group work and invites them to join recess games. The buddy relationship encourages social interaction and builds confidence. Next is the video modeling. Watching videos that demonstrate appropriate behaviors. Example, a student watches a video showing a peer calmly asking for help when frustrated. After viewing, the student practices the same behavior in class using the video as a guide. And lastly, the direct instruction of social rules. It is teaching eye contact, taking turns, or reading body language. For example, a teacher uses visual cues and structured lessons to teach students how to take turns in conversation. The class practices with a talking stick, and the teacher provides feedback like, "You waited for your friend to finish talking. Great job." These strategies help students build essential social skills that are often not learned naturally and are crucial for success in school and beyond. And for the last strategy, it is the supporting transitions. Transition support helps students with disabilities navigate changes smoothly, whether it's moving to a new grade, a new school, or into adult life. So here are types of transitions. First is the grade to grade. It is the preparation meetings, shadowing, and orientation help reduce anxiety. For example, before moving from 5th to 6th grade, a student with an IEP visits the middle school, meets teachers, and follows a shadow schedule with a peer mentor for a day. The current and new teachers meet with the student and family to share support strategies. Next is the school to work or college. It is the transition planning starting at age 14 to 16, and it includes goal setting, vocational training, and connecting with adult services. For example, starting in 10th grade, a student with autism works with a transition coordinator to set post-high school goals. They participate in a job training program at a local grocery store and meet with vocational rehabilitation services to plan for adult employment. Next is the daily transitions. Visual schedules and routines support changes between activities. For example, a student with ADHD uses a visual schedule with pictures and timers to transition between reading time and lunch. This helps reduce frustration and keeps them focused throughout the school day. Next is the strategies of the supporting transitions. First is transition planning meetings. It includes in the IEP from age 16 or earlier. Example, at age 16, a student's IEP includes a transition plan with input from the student, parents, special educators, and a vocational counselor. They identify career interests and needed skills to reach long-term goals. Next is job coaching and life skills training. Prepare students for independence. For example, a high school student with an intellectual disability learns how to follow a bus schedule, handle money, and clock in at a part-time job with the help of a job coach. They also attend weekly life skill classes focusing on cooking and hygiene. And lastly, collaboration with agencies like vocational rehab or college disability services. For example, a student with a physical disability works with their school counselor to connect with the local office of vocational rehabilitation and a disability support coordinator at a nearby college. These agencies help arrange classroom accommodations and transportation support. These examples show how thoughtful planning and individualized support can help students manage transitions confidently and successfully. In conclusion, strategies for students with disabilities must be inclusive, flexible, and individualized. From behavior support to assistive technology and transition planning, these strategies ensure students with diverse needs are equipped not only to succeed academically but also socially and emotionally.